And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another video for you guys. Shout out to everybody who checked out my dev blog reaction and thoughts video. If you haven't checked that out already, I do go in depth on pretty much everything in the dev blog. This video, we're going to specifically talk about a couple different things. I'm not going to do like a multitude of different videos breaking down every single factoid of information that we've gotten. Just the one video will suffice, but I wanted specifically to talk about this new attribute. Well, I guess it's an attribute. It's also just kind of a new thing that 2K is introducing, which could go horrifically wrong, but it could also be incredibly cool. So with that being said, let's get underway. Now, if you watch the dev blog reaction, you know that I am the most hyped about these two things I'm going to be talking about today, which are holographic player cards and My Team Authentic card grading service. Now, you might be asking yourself, like, why are you so excited about these things? These things, A, sound stupid, and B, sound like 2K just trying to finagle more money out of the player base. Both of which, those are true, and valid criticisms, 100%, but I'll explain why I am excited specifically about it. So, first things first, let's go through it. What are the rarest cards in My Team? Basically, they're saying, hey, you know those cards that were rare before? What if we made those cards rarer? Every auctionable player card in My Team will have the opportunity to become a holo version when it is opened from the pack market. So, essentially what this means is in addition to the card's rarity in packs, so the percentage that you have to pull the card, even rarer than that is going to be a smaller percentage that is a holographic version of said card. These cards are going to be the rarest of the rare, especially early on when it comes to the higher tier cards. There's probably going to be like a 0.09% chance that you pull one of these out of a pack. So maybe like 1 in a couple 100,000. Like, I'm not kidding. That's how I believe. The way 2K operates in regards to their pack odds, this is pretty much how it makes sense. I mean, think about how rare it was to pull pink diamonds early on. Now add an additional rarity on top of that pink diamond. That's how rare it's going to be to pull these cards. Think about the first Dark Matters that came out, the first Invincibles to come out. How hard were those to pull? Like, I mean, Invincible Kobe, there was people spending 4 million VC to pull that card, right? Add a layer on top of that, and it's even rarer, right? These rare versions are the ultimate flex in your collection, which is, I like to flex, so that's cool. And to show off to the community when playing online. I tweeted it earlier, and I stand firmly behind it that, like, look, I need the holographic versions of the cards. I need to flex on my opponent while I'm losing by 20 and unlimited, because I'm losing by 20. All right, you might beat me, but you'll never have this cool holo card, so I'm going to flex with that. Now, the good thing is, while holo player cards have the same attributes and badges as their common versions, there will be certain agendas and lineup rules that can require the use of these rare and special cards, so that part's not good. The good part is that holo player cards are not like the hero cards that we saw in Season 5, where they have additional badges and additional attributes. I don't remember if the hero cards had additional attributes, but I know they at least had one more Hoff badge. That's good. I'm glad that they're not better, and that they are the same. They're just rare and shiny. You know, that's nice. I don't like that there's certain agendas and lineup rules that can require the use of these rare and special cards. And the reason I don't like this is because reward cards are not able to be holo unless they come out with like special holo versions later on in the year, which they probably will after Backlash. This seems like what they're doing instead of original owners, but if you look, original owner is still here. You can see it on the card. It is still original owner, so they haven't abandoned that yet. But it's an additional thing that you can snipe, an additional rarity. Now let's talk about the next thing. So the holo cards, I'm not really like too crazy about. I mean, it's like, they're cool, but I don't think they're really going to change the game too much. It's basically just like an extra gem level. A little bit of an extra rarity. It's very similar to the hero cards that they did in Season 5 of 2K21. That's basically them. When 2K does something in a game, you can pretty much guarantee that they're beta testing it for mass rollout, right? So when they did that in Season 5, they were testing to see if people would lose their minds to try to get the rarer version of a card that already exists. You know what I mean? So, and people did. So this is where that came from. You can always trace it back to its source. Now, here's where I'm really excited. The My Team Authentic card grading service. Now, does this sound stupid? Absolutely. So the tagline is, what if you wanted to get more out of the player cards in your lineup? To add another new layer to every player card in My Team, which would be a card A player card is just a player, you know what I mean? You can now send these cards to be professionally graded. After some time passes to carefully grade each card, my guess would be... So I'll touch on this here in a second when they say carefully grade each card, okay? Because that's not... Our experts will send back your player cards freshly sealed and minted with a grade. So, first things first. They're not carefully grading each card by hand. When you draw the card, there is going to be a certain number associated with it, right? And when you submit a card, it's either going to be the number associated with it, if there is a number associated with the card, or it's just going to be completely random, completely RNG, that determines your grade for the card. They're digital cards. I don't think we see it like any other way than that, unless we get a card and it has a little like bend at the top or something, you know what I mean? So it's just going to be completely RNG. So basically you're going to submit it, and I'm guessing it's going to take like anywhere from 10, 15 minutes to 48 hours for you to get your card back. Somewhere in that realm. I'm not sure. My thing is, it would make sense if 2K were to make the card unavailable for a little bit, because it would incentivize pack openings. I don't personally like that, but it would make sense for them, and it's something they would do. So they send back your player cards. I'm guessing it goes to your unopened pack area. So you'll like load it up and you'll go see them. That's whatever. The highest grade you can receive is a flawless 10, but every graded card returns to your lineup with bonus my team per game. So basically what this means is it really incentivizes you grading your cards. Because even if you get like a bad rating, that's still an additional bonus amount of MT that you get per game that you play with those cards, right? Which is huge. I mean, if you get lucky and you get like a 9.5, that's probably a significant amount of MT that you're getting. Similar to holo player cards, only auctionable player cards are able to be graded. So that means no reward cards. And it doesn't specify if you buy a card on auction, can you go get it graded to see if you luck out? That's going to be the big thing. Now, that's why this is so important, right? Because you could take a card that is essentially not worth anything. A good example of this would be in Felipe Lopez, right? Everybody used Felipe Lopez in some capacity at some point this year, but there was just so many of them on the auctions that if you drew them for anything, you weren't making any MT, right? But what if you draw Felipe Lopez and you send one of the 15 that you drew to go get graded, and one comes back 9.7 or 9.5, right? Then all of a sudden, you have a sought-after version. Not only can that card earn you a bunch more MT just by playing the game, people will more than likely pay a significant upcharge on that card just to have the one that gains more MT, especially if matchmaking is back to normal. Some of these lower overall cards are going to become massively expensive due to this fact, right? And you can look, let's go down here, and they have a little excerpt right here. You can see they have a Daryl Griffith, which has a 9.25 mint. Medium MT amount, so whatever. This Ben Simmons has an 8.0, very small MT bonus, so it's probably only giving you an extra like 100 or 200 MT per game or something, possibly even like 50. You know what I mean? 9.25 Marc Gasol. Now you're getting a medium one. I don't know what that's going to be. Still, it's nice though. John Morant 7.0, very small, 8, 9 for... Is it Danny Ferry? All right, we're getting Danny Ferry off the rip. Spurs Danny Ferry. Cool. So, let's go over to NBA 2K21, and I'll explain it a little further in the correct context. So, we're over on NBA 2K21 now. Now, I wanted to explain it a little bit more in depth here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to buy a couple of these GOAT packs. That way I can show you how the process is going to go. So, all right, well, I was hoping to actually get like an Invincible or a GOAT player to do this with, but whatever. So let me just open one more pack and then I'll explain it. It's still cheap loots here. You know I like to open packs, dude. Speaking of which, hype for Colossal packs. I don't know what they are, but I just like a new promo. All right, didn't get one, fine. Drew Holiday. So when you pack them, you're going to be given the option. Here you have add to the exchange, swap from collection, send to auctions, but there's probably going to be an additional option that says send to be graded. Cool. Now you're able to send this card in, quote unquote, to be graded. Interesting, right? This card went from being 600 MT, possibly the highest at like 850, to possibly being valued more. It'd be really cool if we could get basketballs that were graded too. By the way, you can stack MT bonuses as well. So if we were to get like a basketball or a playbook that was graded properly, or a coach, That would be interesting, but it did specify player cards only, so I'm guessing that's the only thing we get MT bonus, but I would like a token bonus for my coach or something. So I don't think it's either going to sit in your collection, disappear completely, or sit in your auctions with like a X or something so you can't mess with it. And then after the allotted time limit, you're probably going to go to your unopened packs and it'll be sitting there. And then you'll be able to see what grade you got and everything like that, and then you can decide what to do with the card from there. I personally think this is a huge MT making possibility and a huge opportunity for a lot of people to make a lot of MT. Because if you were to go in the marketplace, people are going to try to buy the MT making versions of these cards, especially the ones that are highly graded, due to people being collectors and due to people wanting to grind MT, right? So if this card had a 9.7, right? If we're at this point of the year, so let's say we're at the end of the year or whatever, you know, a card went from being 800 MT, probably goes up to 4 or 5K just based on that because of the amount of MT it can make you. You know what I mean? So if you open packs and get these free packs, especially if you get free packs, if you're trying to go no money spent with it, whatever cards you guys draw out of those free packs, you need to get them graded. Now, they haven't specified it's going to cost anything or it's going to be a free service. My guess is, knowing 2K, it is going to cost MT to be graded. Probably with the possibility of you being able to play VC as well. That would be my guess, right? Because that's just the 2K move. But looking at the beginning of the year, I mean, like, if we're just taking 2K21 into account, right? There's not very many cards that were used for a long period of time. Like, the first pack's is colossal, so, like, maybe we get, like, centers or defenders. So, like, Rick Smits I used for a little bit, so I wouldn't have minded paying the MT to grade Rick Smits, but, like, Shaq is the top card in Colossal. And if he's as good as he was last year, people are going to use him for a while, at least a few weeks. So you have the opportunity to make your MT back depending what it costs, right? Those are the things that you really got to take into account, right? Are you going to be able to sell it for enough that it's going to make sense to do that? B, if you want to keep that card, are you going to use it for long enough that it's going to be able to make that MT back plus some? Like, besides Derrick Rose and Larry Bird, not very many of these opening weekend cards were used for very much longer, and that's typically how it is in 2K because we get content bang, bang, bang so fast, and cards get upstaged so fast in the first month or two, that until we get to probably like late September, early October, most of those cards aren't going to be used for a long period of time. John Stockton is a notable example of a card that was used for a long period of time. I mean, people were still using this card in the middle of Season 3, possibly beyond. So that's a card that I would have been comfortable getting graded because I knew I would have been using it for a while. It's just something to think about, you know what I mean? It's interesting. Or like Bull or Thon Maker, you know, guys that we used for a long period of time regardless. Those are the cards that I'm most comfortable getting graded. And you kind of know what those cards are instantaneously. Like, we all knew Bull would be a card that we were using for a long period of time. He was a pink diamond. He was an overpowered one at that. He was relatively inexpensive for the majority of people to buy. So I would have been comfortable getting that graded. Even if I got like an 8 or whatever, you know, that's still an MT bonus for a card that I'm going to use. The reward cards, you can't get graded, man. I'm not incredibly surprised by this fact, by the way. It's just something that 2K would totally do. But it sucks. So like someone like Christian Wood that people used for a long period of time, you can't get that or Danny Ferry. You can't get that bonus MT on those cards because they're reward cards. Is 2K going to fix that? I'm sure there's going to be versions of reward cards that you can get that can be graded. They're just going to be special limited time events or like something like that. But it would suck to not be able to grade the unlimited reward you worked really, really hard on. You know what I mean? But I like the grading system. I think it's tight. Like, if they allow you to purchase cards on the auctions that haven't been graded and then get them graded, that's a lot of like risk reward that you could possibly like try out. To be completely honest, that's straight up gambling. Like, you're spending MT just hoping. It's not that much different than packs, I suppose. You know what I mean? But it's a little bit more mainlined version of it. But as always, it has been your boy Cheap Ludes. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll be back with more content all week. I'm thinking about doing another video tonight, so you guys might see me. And I'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys.